Hello, everyone, and welcome. Do feel free to pop your name in the chat. I do have some general things to share and um, about where we're at, and thought that it would be interesting to invite people. Hi, Jackie. To invite people to share. You don't have to share the intimate details, but just to kind of share the very most recent experience that you have had with your divine counterpart, be that in the flesh or be that a communication, or be that an energetic connection. So I wanted to share that there are real tangible things happening. So there are definitely where can I start? Well, I should start with this day. So I woke up this day rolling around in the energy of lack and poverty consciousness. And it's been really interesting because I decided that I would sit with it and see what came of it. And eventually, after really seeing it, feeling it, allowing it to see where it took me, was really deep. And when I finally thought, right, I need to get some higher understanding about it and connect it in with Gaia, she spoke to me about how we are undoing the threads of basically the threads that connect us into the matrix in the old like tricks and bindings and codes and contracts and oaths that we have made throughout time. So I'll put together a video about that, but I have been in a real shite place today, kind of wondering about that, exploring that, feeling into see where it may sit in the energy and in myself and in my counterpart and in the world. And it would seem from what Gaia showed me that the metaphor was these trap doors in the center of the ocean being unlocked and opened. And in there were things that held us in slavery contracts across the spectrum. And so they are being undone. And it's not that I'll be the only person having that experience. We each do parts of this. And I want to say to you, did you notice on the last video, I'll just check her name so I can tell you and you can have a look. Carolyn Queel. So she wrote that she works on the highest timeline, and so that everything that is done that's an intrusion, they go and flip to the higher purpose, and then this exposes the truth and moves us to a higher timeline. And she said, oh, she must have written 2 comments. Hold on. Let me find it. Oh, because do you remember me saying how I was in that suicidal energy? She said that they were clearing the suicide timelines, and so that's why. And I wasn't the only one. There were other people on here who said that as well, that they had felt that. So I found that really fascinating, and I thought that I would pass that on to you. And so today, so I've written some bits about it, but what I thought I would do is create an opportunity for people to say where they are up to. And I want to tell you what I've been witnessing. So I've had really a huge number of people who have come to me who are known or unknown to them, because there are some who have come and they don't know about this concept. Men and women, divine feminine and divine masculine. So, in the variant gender forms. And there's a spectrum at the moment that I'm watching. But so in the divine masculine, there is this spectrum from this end, which is that they are in their awakening, and they are finding their way with it. And so there's a lot of release of tears. There's a sense of not knowing. There's a sense of for example, I had this divine masculine in my clinic a couple of weeks ago who just is the epitome of the divine masculine. This beautiful man with this incredible heart and with this huge humanitarian project, and wondering why he cannot understand what is going on for him. And it's just his whole it's really interesting. In his three-dimensional world, everything is tickety-boo. He's in a relationship that's working. He has beautiful connections with his children. He has financial wealth and successful businesses and lovely holidays, and yet things are not clicking into place for him with his big project, and he's been crying, and I felt really privileged, and I feel really privileged to meet these divine masculine. And a divine feminine the other day asked me, is there a look or is there a type? And I said no. There's an energetic though. They feel so beautiful in their heart space, even if they're just beginning to open, or those who are on that end of the spectrum where their hearts are only just beginning to open. You can feel the energy of that, I can, through their divine feminine. So that's the other thing. So they are definitely in their heart awakening, their heart opening, this moving between and trying to make sense of their three-dimensional world, which just isn't working for them. And as they're doing that, they can come into that exploration of their internal self, their higher consciousness, their higher heart ways of operating. But there's a lot of internal work going on for them at the moment. So there's that. And then there's the connections. So there are a lot of divine masculines who are showing up, who are making physical, tangible communication, or turning up on the doorstep, or texting, writing, ringing, whatever, and that is showing up. So that is showing up very strongly for lots of people who are connecting in with me. And the recognition, like the conversations are acknowledging that there is something here that's special, that has depth, that has meaning, that is important and is being spoken of. So many of the divine masculine are really in the place of figuring out what to say, and it's challenging for them because they like to have a plan, and so they want to feel in a way competent in what they say in their expression, when actually all they need to do is show up and say hello, and the conversation can just unfold from there. But there are certainly many examples in terms of what's being fed to me about the divine masculines turning up on the doorstep at their divine feminines, even if it was unannounced. And so I just want to let you know that this is happening, and that this, during this sort of period of time, it's likely that those who are on this sort of first wave of connection, don't get hung up on it, but hold a gentle expectation of knowing that this is in the corridor, in the mix, in the throes. So just honestly, this well, one of my clients said to me, so you have obviously met a lot of divine masculine, and are they a type? Do they have a look? And I said, no, actually, no, they don't. And I have met divine masculine who are in their late 20s through to in their late 50s, I think. And they just make me smile. They're just the most exquisite human beings. They just have this way about them that is so soft, so loving in their hearts, so compassionate, so big picture. They have these, it's very interesting. They each of them who I've spoken to, they have these big visions, these big ideas for our earth. And the other aspect is that even if they are in like movement, adjustment, relocation, it's important to them to be honoring everybody. They hold everybody in that beauty, in that sacred space, and the actions that they take, they hold it in those higher principles of being compassionate and loving and understanding of everybody's place and space. And so these are all some of the reasons of why it might be feeling as though they are taking their time, but actually they're not. They're just progressing through. But for some of our divine masculine, they have huge numbers of factors that are involved in their plan or in their decision, and they will work through it. So right now they're very much, some of them are very much in that dark night of the soul where everything is falling apart and they do not know what is going on. And others are just at the beginning of that coming into their heart opening, and And so their journey, how it looks from my kind of overall perspective, if you like, is that, they have to look at what is in their 3D world that suddenly makes no sense, and that can be quite confrontational. And then they have to look at what might replace it in a higher fifth dimensional way. What else have I got? I'll just... and the admission, the admission, the acknowledgement, the declaration of being in one another's minds, of being, of thinking, of always, thinking of one another all the time, or being in one another's minds. That is quite strong. And I want you to realize that they will come through it. I mean, they are the divine masculine. They are these incredible beings who are rising up into themselves, just as the divine feminine have done, and that their process will be much, much faster than ours, and we're in very speedy energy. So that's one of the things that Guy was speaking about to me today, about the reason that I'm feeling all of this stuff is it seems that it's part of my contract, and that she was saying we're in very, if we were in, she gave it several names, and we know that we can call the same thing by several kind of names and metaphors. So she's saying in the Ascension corridor, in this portal of energies that are streaming in, we are in exceptionally accelerated energies. So they are really kind of stirring things up for release, for being released from the matrix, and that's where we're at the moment. So you may be feeling some of those things in relation to other exploration or other components of the matrix, but this is really, it's this idea that all of these trapdoors from inside the earth have been opened. And so I'll just read you a little bit about that. We are in the ejection portal or the ascension corridor, but in exceptionally fast frequencies today. You are feeling and processing the collective release of the fear matrix. So this is related to financial bindings, vows of poverty, secret overlays, inculcations and infiltrations related to need, lack, finance as security. We are releasing these matrix contracts that are essentially the slave contracts for humanity. So that is happening, and she's saying that as it's completed, there'll be releases from the holding patterns on the collective related to a whole range of things. All the old entrapment codes and formula that have held us in this 3D matrix. So not only are we dissolving the matrix, but we are being released from it. All the old conceded contracts, oaths and promises, the twisted truth of who you are being undone, released and terminated, and this includes karmic loops and contracts. So it is interesting how we go deeper and deeper and deeper, and now we're like in the underground of releasing. And so this energy that's super fast, it's this in deeper and final throes of purification. And it's like that. It's like through the field, through your own energy field, you might be feeling it move through that. And because you're sensitive to the energies, you're feeling it. So the other things to come relate to things around the self, the sovereign self, the empowered, multidimensional, embodied self, around money, around truth, around privacy as well, around the intrusion of our own personal privacy, around healing of the core wounds, especially around abandonment and aloneness, which often is links into the abandonment by the Father or by the Creator that sits there. This disruption, the disruptions in terms of frequencies. So we know that the music frequency, for example, is disrupted, has been amended, altered, and the disruption of the seasons, the disruption of the flow of our energetic systems in the water and the air, the ley lines, the grid lines, that all of these have been shifted, the frequencies of it, the frequencies of communication, the frequencies that have been put through and around us throughout the last couple of years to keep us down. And yeah, the overlay also relates to the hive mind, this creation of the hive mind, and of moving into better harmonics, this transformation of self in all of us, and bringing back in this more flow and community balance. So what she is saying is that over the next 7 or 8 days, we'll be in the midst of the release of these things, and so we'll just see what shows up. I mean, how I read it is the order that she gave it to me in, but it's like the roots of everything. If it was an organic thing, which it isn't, it's like the roots of the tree are being pulled out. But this is the buried anchor points of codes and contracts that have held us in this slavery, and that's so disempowering. And that's how I've felt today. I've just been in this total sense of disempowerment. So I'm sure that there's more that some of you can add into that, and that will come. But we are really in fast energies. We're really moving into this ending of this so that we can be fully in the creation of the new. All right, let me read the chat. Hi Jackie, hi Tina, hi Lauren. Lauren's saying some DMs want us to come and save them. Yeah, they do have to save themselves, because they are these incredible beings, and it's their time to rise back up into it. But many of them, of course, have been murdered and killed and punished, and in many repeat lifetimes on the earth. Larissa's saying, I have no communication with my DM, but I play hard in this slavery, freedom, and loneliness game. Yeah, so just allow yourself to feel it, Larissa, and then allow it to move. Just watch it move, and feel it move, and just ask if there's anything you need to know in relation to that. Jackie's saying feeling so weak at the moment. Yeah, the other aspect of that is that it's it's a bit. I feel like there's quite a lot of go hard or go home in terms of the intrusion energies. They are grappling for their existence. And so there's lots of energy frequencies that are being pummeled into the air. So you're grounded, get in nature, all of that can help. Hi Phoenix, I'm curious, what if the DM doesn't come forward to their DF due to fear or their choice of career instead of choosing the TF connection? Does this mean the TF connection falls apart? It's my understanding that it's like a divine covenant, it's like an etching, a sacred vow on the soul, and it is your energetic soul aspect, same soul frequency, same soul song. And so there will be situations that maybe take more shifting, but that pull to mission, that pull to soul will become stronger and stronger. And the desire to let the three-dimensional aspects or the matrix aspects will become stronger, to let them go. They won't make sense anymore in the new, in their new mind, if you like, in their new life, in their new way of being. A lot of those, the rationale for why they did things in the 3D world will suddenly not stack up. And so they will choose this higher timeline. I believe that we're in this window to ascension, that we're in the timing of these starting to show up. And so what's been interesting to me is that I have, seen and been given information from people who are experiencing those connections. And that it is interwoven in the ascension of humanity and the planet. These connections are. So if you are in fear around it, then work on the wound that relates to the fear, and then that will help that come into alignment. So each of us have to be, I want to say, you don't have to have done all of it, but you have to be fairly strongly in your alignment, having healed your core wounds, having addressed what it is that you're here to do, having risen into your sovereignty, having got started on your mission. I believe that all those things have to be put in order. Just doing you. I've been experiencing remote viewing of my DM, astounding and reflective for me. Oh, that's beautiful, Rael. Are you happy to share what is astounding you? Okay, Stacey just last spoke to her DM in June, feeling and seeing visions of him in 5D. He's confident and extremely happy energy. That's wonderful. So that's where we want them to be. That's where we need to be. So I've spoken. So I met that amazing Divine Masculine a couple of weeks ago, and I have spoken to a number of Divine Feminines, even Divine Feminines who don't know that they are, and just heard the most beautiful stories about, this person that I have loved for so long and who just makes me feel so happy turned up at my door this week. And this person I know is my Divine Masculine. He knocked on my door and declared his love. And the other thing that's showing up is this fifth dimensional shift. So Divine Feminines are talking to me about the language. So their 3D twin or divine masculine speaks in this kind of vernacular, and then all of a sudden there's this like a switch, and they're speaking in sacred spiritual languaging that they didn't even seem to know before, or even to the extent of kind of poo-pooing it. So, they really are waking up. All right, come on then. What else is happening in your worlds? What's happening in your own emotional, physical body? What's happening when you tune into your divine masculine? Who is having telepathic communication now? Who can energetically connect to their divine masculine's heart? Jodie had an astral visit 2 weeks ago. It was beautiful. Did you travel to your counterpart, or did they travel to you? Oh, how divine. That reminds me. So Meredith said something on her video, I'm not sure, a couple of days ago maybe, and I think she, anyway, I commented on her video about how this was just this total gold when she channeled this information that the divine feminine holds space. So, I've been talking about that. We have to hold the space for this connection. But the gem was, she said, the divine masculine hold the timing. So if you, which is also, of course, in cahoots with divine, but if you can come into the power of that can allow you to let go a little bit more, that the divine feminine don't have anything to do with the timing. So that was quite a beautiful thing to hear. The divine masculine, also they have exceptionally high standards for and of themselves, and so some of that is their coming into their empowerment to realize that they are amazing as they are, and that it's okay to just keep growing. What else was I thinking around that? Oh, that there's this definite growth in their heart space and in them finding the right words. It's important to them that they are able to find the right words, and they really can't connect in well to communicate. This is the other thing I've recognized, is that until their heart is opened enough, they can't really connect into the beauty of the whole dynamic. Okay, Lauren's been having lots of astral dream meetings with him that even go back to last year. Yes, and Larissa together twice in the astral, just amazing. And call that in. I think there's nothing wrong about that. To call them in energetically, call them in to be beside you when you're in the kitchen cooking dinner, call them into your bed, call them in to sit beside you while you're reading or meditating, call them in to be in meditation with you, receiving song lyrics for over a year, and it's incredible. And yeah, have a look. I haven't done a playlist yet, but a lot of Divine Feminines have incredible messages that have come through the songs that have been placed on the last video. Reached out about a week ago, sent a documentary about his work and shamanism. Nothing else more, no contact for almost a year. Yeah, so we each have to come into our own kind of divine, sovereign space, having done our work, and they are doing their work, and they will complete their work more quickly than it's taken us. So that's the thing to kind of hold on to, is that in the timing of this, they will do that much more quickly than us. Phoenix is saying, song's been communicated to me too, indicating he's missing me. The song Cherish, where there is this particular paragraph of lyrics stands out. If you receive your calling before I awake, will I make it through the night? So that's kind of like this huge leap that they're making. That's my sense of it. They are going from being the apprentice to being the master, almost like that. The more our throat and heart chakras open, the more telepathic communication we will receive. That's an interesting perspective, yes. And I would say that that also might link into other points like the crown or the third eye. Stacey is saying, if I ask my DM a question and hit the random shuffle button in Spotify, the most perfect songs come on. It's a fun way to communicate. That is a fun way to communicate. Larissa, first song related to him for over 2 years ago was If the World Is Ending. He is a musician, likes to sing random songs. Lauren's saying about the music as well. And Rael is saying he was grieving, crying, heartbroken. Release of the old way and knowing new ways were coming, but not there yet. Yes, that's a perfect alignment with the kind of, I want to say, with the middle part of the spectrum. Knowing new ways were coming, so sacred to witness and ground, soft acknowledgement for the DM. So when I've been tuning into the DMs of the DFs who've been with me, it's very beautiful. It's very exquisite to tune into their heart. They're soft and compassionate and open, and they are in this, it's this whole connection up through their higher chakras, their hearts opening, their higher hearts and recognition. So that's mission and purpose, and this helps them to connect to who they are and why they are here, which then helps them connect to you. And then that, with the throat opening, allows them to speak it. We've had this truth serum energy come in, the veils are being lifted, the false world, the false matrix, the way that we've been hidden and shrouded, all of that has gone off. So now we can see, feel, and speak truth. So they are learning to do that, and in learning to do that, of course, they are learning how to access their feelings and emotions in their hearts and give word to them, give speech to them. It's learning a new set of vocab, really. So that, and because they are articulate, they're often exceptionally articulate, and yet They may not yet have the language of higher love in their vocabulary. And yeah, this grieving, this grieving is something that's also part of awakening, that not everybody goes through it, but a lot of people do. They cry, they are grieving their old life, they are grieving their old experiences, they're grieving their lifetime here and prior, and they're grieving the lack of certainty, the lack of knowing, the wobbliness that comes when many of you will have that understanding. All of a sudden, the things that you thought were part of your life, the things that you thought in terms of your career, in terms of your focus, that you thought that you were here to make change with and to excel in, and probably many of you did in your careers, except that they probably took a turn, and then all of a sudden those avenues for seeking promotion or branching out get closed. We get pushed very clearly to find our way, and it can be very challenging. It can be very challenging on our self-worth as well, and we have to move through that. And this is the kind of experience that many of them are having, that they've been training and doing things in a very successful way in a particular area of work, and all of a sudden it dries up, the opportunities dry up, the things that they know they're a shoo-in for, they get turned down for that. And that is very confronting, and it's because we have to kind of reinvent ourselves when we're in our awakening. And so the bits that don't belong anymore in our new world, which we don't know what it is, are falling away, but there's no surety about what's coming. So a lot of them are like that. It makes them feel wobbly in their own masculinity. It makes them feel a little bit disempowered. Watching, it's like grieving the lost future as well. So it's pretty massive what they're going through, and we can hold them with compassion, knowing that they are doing what they need to do in the right timing, and we can hold the space for them to come into it, maintaining our own equilibrium and balance, so that whatever we are doing basically isn't going into their field and slapping them around, or the energy around, or making the energies murky by being needy or a bit tentacle like. So you sit back in your own throned empowerment, doing your own thing, holding space for that coming in. All right, 99 Portal, my DM was having a nana nap on the couch beside me, woke up and told me he was dreaming of cooking crumpets and got angry and threw a crumpet at me. Wow. What do you think that was about? A little release. The 99 Portal, there was a lot of ending energies in there, a lot of ending of the old. Part of the grieving I experienced was a feeling of feeling lost for so long. Oh yeah, Lauren, it's so hard, isn't it? And I think for the masculine, it's maybe even more difficult, because there's so much impatterning for them about who they are and what they're supposed to do in terms of security and protection and provision. If one twin is injected and the other is not, will this affect the TF connection in any way? It's a really good question. All I can tell you is that I am told clearly that there will be, well, that there has been divine intervention, there will be further divine intervention, that the wave, that there will be a wave, whether that's the Ascension wave or not, I haven't clarified that. There will be a wave that ameliorates, and there will be technology that comes, even though there are many people saying that this will be impossible to undo. That isn't my understanding. So I know that that's a fairly confrontational condition to have to deal with, but that's what I understand. So let's see. A spiritual teacher who says that the geometry between the counterparts will change and they will no longer hold the TF energy. Yeah, well, I don't know the truth of that. No, I don't get that that's true. It doesn't mean it isn't true for some people. The old doesn't resonate anymore. You can't see or feel your future. I call it the isolation stage. Yeah, exactly. It's this. It's being. We're being stripped. Really, we're being stripped naked. That's probably the easiest way to perhaps think about it. If you imagine, you've got your overcoats being ripped off and your jumpers being taken off, and then your shirt's being taken off, and everything represents aspects of self, the old self. And vibrationally, when we go through into this next energy, then a guy has spoken to me about anything that is inorganic will be dissolved. Anything that is not in resonance with creation energy, anything that is not in resonance with the energy of our future lives will be dissolved. The molecular structure will not hold. And so the other thing that she says to me, which I'm not a scientist, but she says to me that the science on the earth is, what was the word that she used? But basically faulty. That she calls it pseudoscience. That a lot of the science on the earth is pseudoscience, and when we move through, there'll be, more. There'll be more that comes, but everything will become frequency based. And so, what she is saying is that those compounds, those molecular structures that aren't held in higher frequency, will fall apart, will dissolve. So let's see what's here. Massive trigger from me earlier this morning, clearing a lot of anger and stubbornness. 3 days later, we moved into the new energies, and I told him I couldn't do it anymore. Yep, well, he can move through that. This is what these energies are bringing up, because we can't be in those energies of those lower energies of anger and rage, and shame and despair, and all of those energies, they're coming up for release because they're held in ourselves, and they're triggered by these energies because they're a lower frequency. And so you can step back from it. But Phoenix is saying, yes, Sharon, apparently it cannot be undone. Well, that isn't my belief. I would say that is a reasonable belief in this, in our three-dimensional world, but I don't believe that it is in our higher dimensional world. Yeah, that's nice. His presence, not his presence. Yeah. Okay, what are you saying, Lauren? To nothing I tried worked. What do you mean, Jackie? Nothing I tried worked. Moving on now just to create change. Are you talking about your making a connection with your DM? Want to be closer to family in these uncertain times. Yeah. Hi, Dawn. Step forward, two back, doing my best to hold space. Yeah, because that is the best thing that you can do. Is it's really, it's so hard for so many of them. 2 years on the bench. Yeah. And it's all about, those bigger things, those bigger lessons, those bigger understandings that we've had to learn individually, that we've had to learn collectively. And we are here in the most extraordinary time in the history of the universe, actually. And it's a great privilege and blessing to be here. And it's an even greater privilege and blessing to be here in this journey of connection with our soul self through this divine counterpart journey. And yet it is so challenging. It just throws us about. And so it's all about remembering that you are a master, you are this incredible divine being, and you are just coming into yourself so that you can step into connection with yourself in an energetic way that can then become apparent in our new world. And we are on the fringes of and experiencing fifth dimensional energies and frequencies, and we'll receive more of those. And I believe that as we do receive more of those, and as the masculine receive more of those, their three-dimensional constructs will dissolve. They will, see the light, be illuminated. They will see you because you are the light, and that's just this orchestrated dance. We're in the last throes of the dance. And what else can I offer you? What would anybody else like to throw into the mix here? All right. Well, I invite you to just feel into your own beautiful heart, and oh yeah, I'll answer that. And know that your own, well, I quite often just call my DM in for a conversation, actually. And sometimes I call him in to sit in my heart space with me. That's a really nice place to meditate with them, to sit in front of your own sacred flame and to sit around that like a campfire and be in communication with them. You can do that. Invite them to come into a walking meditation. Invite them to come into your dream space. Invite them to be present with you. The other thing that's really interesting is this idea that when they do communicate, it becomes obvious that they know more about these connections than they would claim. So whether it's like a Freudian slip or whether it is that part of them hides from it, that their communication often indicates that they are much more aware of energetics, are much more aware of the connections, much more aware of you, that they yeah, they kind of spell out accidentally. The most extraordinary time to be alive in the history of the universe. I was wrapping my head around that earlier today. It is an honour and a privilege. It just so is. It really is. And it feels really hard. And some days I feel like it's just so hard as well. You're very welcome, Phoenix. It's really my pleasure to do this. So, did I miss something? I'm not sure. I think. Oh yeah, your thoughts on the jabbed DMs. Well, I went into a bit of a spin about that a while ago, and then I have such faith. I have such faith in divine power and what we're doing here, that always when I speak to Gaia about some of this 3D kind of shite that's going on, she always brings it to a higher level. We are learning to come into our empowered mastery, and this is part of our journey. And so being able to make decisions and be in our power and all of the rest of it is part of that. What if in their empowerment, they dissolve the potency of it in the process? What if how they attached or didn't attach to it had an impact? But irrespective of that, I believe that when we go to this higher frequency, that, well, I'm shown and I see them and I'm told about them. We're going to have higher level technology, and so there's that part of it. Yeah, I went through the I want to be intimate in that regard, but I came up with, no, it will be fine. We will resolve this. There will be a resolution for this, and that we have to go to our higher dimensional space and know that it is so, and know that there will be a way through this, because from a higher level, you could say that all of this that we have been through is a part of the ascension process, that it is this creating this grand awakening, and that it just, I just don't believe that it will be so, because Gaia speaks about 70% of the planet ascending. And so I'll have another conversation with her about it, but I am in the belief that it will be okay. So Lauren's saying just keep focusing. She keeps focusing on her journey. Perfect. Detach from the 3D. Yes. Receive what I received from him. Yes. Trust in the timing of it all. But it's taken me about 2 years to get to that higher space. Yeah, it does take work, because there's so many kind of permutations to the connection. But yeah, I have I drop into huge gratitude for my divine masculine, for who he is, for how he is, for what I have become because of him, and what he has become because of me. And I'm so grateful to that. And I just have faith that it's all going to be happening. A dream last week, Jennifer's saying, heard very clear as I was just waking, union is coming. Yeah, you know what? If everybody wrote some of those things that come in, that is a little common thing. I'm coming, I'm on my way, I'll be there shortly. Those sorts of things definitely are these common phrases that divine feminines are hearing from their divine masculine. and they are just coming into this sort of dawning of who they are. A song lyric from your DM. Nice, yes. So these messages do come. Don't dismiss them when you hear them. You'll be correct. It's if you see that it is that we're in this energetic connection, and be in appreciation for whenever you feel that, and acknowledge that, and be in the knowing of what we appreciates. It's just such a universal truth. And so let's appreciate who they are and how they are growing and how we are growing as a result, and to be looking for what we can take from each moment and to be grateful for each moment. Yeah, and just let me know though, has anyone else sat in the puddle of stuff around poverty today? Because this is the other aspect that has come up, is that I tell you what, some of you will know it already, but there are some twins who are here to do the most extraordinary missions. These are not missions for human beings. These are the most incredible missions that require going through, from here to here, so it can all rise up and be undone. And you'll know if you've watched my 45-minute video overview about twins from messages that Gaia has brought me when I was trying to make a compilation about it, that we're each here, we have an impact on a particular template to both undo individually, in our partnership, and then in a template, in a wheel, and then 12 stacks of the wheel. So 12 pairs on 12 wheels that get stacked up, and that's the undoing and the redoing of the templates. And when I am tuning into and having discussion with divine counterparts about their mission, and it becomes so clear about how massive it is and what is required, it's no wonder that these take so long, because we have to be able to be in our power without being taken down for a start. And we need to be, I believe, through this, not everybody, because there are lots of twins who are together, but through this sort of cruddy time, so that we can be in pristine energies to make those things happen. But each of us will be undoing. So, I want to say that, they are divine covenants with soul and creator, and that the mere of our three-dimensional earth is not going to interfere with those in the big picture. But tell you what, you chose a big mission, and we all did, and maybe we are only just beginning to learn how big it is, and that this is not a three-dimensional relationship. We are here to be teaching and exemplifying higher ways of being, and so we have to get into our higher way of being and shift out the things that are old paradigms in our expectations and in our relating to people, and recognize though that, see the kind of the similarities, see the themes, the waves, the streams. Look at all of you who get these incredible song lyrics that come through. I mean, that is phenomenal in itself. That's another whole language in itself. Stacey saying, re-poverty, facing that energy quite a bit the last few months, on and off. Yeah. Okay, well, just check in with what you might need to know or do, if there's anything for you to know or do about that, and then reinvent the paradigm. So be in the reminder to yourself of stating things and feeling them. So you state it and then you feel it as though you have it. So you are, it's the look, see, hear, feel. So I've been saying, I always have more than enough flow to pay for all that I need to pay for. I'm always in ongoing, continual flow. I'm always grateful that I'm taken care of by the divine, things like that. And then, but I got thrown in a loop like that today. And yeah, I must have put my hand up for some of this. Buy more value on my heart. Oh, that's beautiful. Put more value on your heart. Yes. Yeah. You are powerful beyond measure, Stacey. And that's what we can all do here in holding space and here for one another. So I wish you and so much love and so much gratitude for coming here and sharing this, because if we share the lights, if we share the gems, if we share the love, it goes out into the ethers that affects the love of the world. And the bottom line is that is a big contractual word, theme, stream for the entire collective of divine counterparts, that we're here to roll the love into a new frequency. So we have to do that by loving ourselves first and then holding space for that love. So thank you. Thank you for what I receive when you're here as well. All right. Much love to you all.